This podcast is powered by The Plug, The Connect with Graffiti. Mirage, what's up? How you feeling?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
Are you good?
Oh, God, I'm so good.
All right. Good energy, good spirits.
Good energy, good spirit.
So I had a previous episode and somebody said, they always say, how's your mentals?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start asking people that. How's your mentals?
Yeah, that's good.
It's good?
Yeah.
Good.
Spaces.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. So for the people who do not know who I'm talking to right now, who are you?
I'm Mirage. I am your favorite hood homegirl.
Okay.
Right? That's what I am. That's what I do. I do a little bit of everything. But yeah, that's what I do. I heal, I read tarot, I do relationship counseling and self-counseling. I'm a business analyst by trade. I just had to tell you that. So I thought,
Right.
I do have a real job too, but I do all of these things, right?
Right. So before we even get into all that, I got to tell people, so y'all might not know, that Mirage is low-key the reason, not even low-key, high-key the reason why I do broadcasting.
Yeah.
And we could take it back to where that came from. I remember specifically, I was on your show.
Yeah.
What was your show?
Lyrical Illusions.
Lyrical Illusions.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember what it was called. Lyrical Illusions. I was a guest on her show.
Yeah.
And the thing was, pussy is the root of all evil.
Yeah. And you wanted to argue it. I tweeted it out.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted to argue that pussy is the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to argue why it wasn't.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all come a long way since that episode. But
we were also kids, I
Yeah.
always chop it up to like we were in our 20s doing what 20-year-olds
Early
do.
20s, yeah.
Doing what 20-year-olds do. So that chapter of my life isn't one that I'm like ashamed or like
For sure.
I don't even like shade it cuz I'm like, dude, I was in my 20s doing 20-year-old stuff, having 20-year-old conversations,
Right.
right? And then as I got older, conversations changed.
Right. But I
Right.
mean, that foundation kind of helped both of us
Facts.
build from that moment.
Yeah.
I mean, we were podcasting before people was even saying podcasting, really,
Facts.
if you think about it.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
So, like, thank you for that.
Yeah,
But I had to
no
let
worries.
people know that real quick before we get into your story. So let's rewind at the beginning.
Okay.
Young Mirage.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Your upbringing.
I grew up with my mother and my stepfather. My mother and my stepfather have been married like 30-something years. It's just me and my little sister in the house.
Right.
Then my stepfather has 4 boys, 3 I claim. Real, yeah. So
I get that.
yeah, he got 4. I claim 3 for sure.
Okay.
It was cool. My mother was bougie poor, right? So
What's that?
yeah,
I know what
so,
it is, but
yeah,
what's that?
so like,
for the
wow,
listeners?
we didn't always have everything. If my mother was going to get Section 8, she was going to move us to the suburbs. So while we were living in Section 8 homes, I grew up around TJ High School my whole life. So we were going to live in the suburbs, and we were going to do suburban things, even on my mother's budget. And then my mother started working towards her career and like blew up overnight. So we went from poor bougie to just bougie because then she just had the money to match.
Right.
And then I meet the love of my life, I think. I mean, he certainly was. I'm 19. I get pregnant. I have my first baby the day after my 20th birthday. So I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 2 by 23. He's in the military. And I walk into the Casbah one night and they're doing
Casbah.
poetry on the stage. Okay,
Right.
It's a Thursday night. This dude I was creeping with took me. We're not going to talk about that, but that's what those are the chains of events.
For sure.
He took me and they're doing poetry on the stage. And Reality and Q are there. And I'm asking Q if I can get on the mic. I'm like, I write poems.
Right.
And he's like, you need to watch these poets and see if you can really do it. And I'm like, okay. So I watched that night. I go the next Thursday. He makes me watch again. He will not put me on the mic. I'm like, let me get on. Mike Vick had just been sentenced for them dogfighting.
Right.
So my poem was about Mike Vick and dogfighting because I was hot. I was so angry that they sentenced that man. And I was like, oh. So he finally lets me on the mic. And reality says, oh, man, you hot, but you talk too fast. And I was like, okay. And he's like, come back next week.
Right.
And I was like, all right. So I come back next week with another poem. They got jokes now, and they calling me Twista in the venue, and I'm still going by Ashley, but they got jokes because I talk too fast. And then there's this poet, her name's Israelite, let her soul rest in peace. She grabs me off the stage one day, and she's like, I'm gonna show you. And she made me start writing on a beat, so I could only talk
to
on
get
these
that
beats.
cadence. Yeah.
So this way, I learned how to control the crowd. She's the one who taught me how to like move into the crowd. Ruckus was also me and Ruckus were super, super, super tight. So she was always teaching me like how to control a room. Like when you get in there, you control the room. From the moment you walk in the venue, they need to see you.
Right.
And it worked. like the advice just worked. I took it. And it worked. So I did poetry around the city. Then Ruckus took me on tour with her 'cause she was on a tour and she was letting me open for her.
Yeah,
so I got to do that. And then I came back and I'm on Twitter one day and DJ SD is like, we have this radio station that we're doing in the basement. It's called Livewire.
Livewire.
Right? Livewire.
Livewire Radio.
She's like, and we like your presence on Twitter. You want to move it to the station? And I was like, sure, let's do that.
Yeah.
And that was that chapter. And that was the best time of my life. I had some of the most profound life lessons in that. I did everything. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah,
that was a moment.
It was. But also, we were free black kids before we knew we were free black kids. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
We controlled that station. We controlled what we put on. I had a show one year where DJ DI did the whole show butt naked. Remember for Valentine's Day?
I do.
Yeah,
That's some wild shit.
We were free. We were
Yeah.
doing what we wanted to do.
That's a fact.
We were talking about the things we wanted to talk about, and you all were like young moguls in the making. Like
Right.
you guys, there was the U-Buns era,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you were doing all of this artwork. Like nobody was getting anything through the city if it wasn't coming
Right.
through you.
Right.
Like we were just really at some really important stages of our life where we got to be free and we got to like live in our truths and be who we wanted to be.
That's a fact. It's
And-
kind of crazy looking back at it now because that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful I got to come up in that era.
Yeah.
You know, I say people now, we talked about Mirage. It's hard for me now to go to like poetry venues and do things like that because I also came up in an era where Black excellence it was not a hashtag.
Yeah, that wasn't the conversation.
Yeah, we were living it.
Yeah.
We were going to be the best. We were going to study the hardest. We were going to do it. And we were doing it before people even knew what Black excellence was.
Right.
So I come up in an era in poetry where they made you mean it. You had to be good to get on those stages.
Right.
They were going to treat you like you weren't if you weren't. And maybe that wasn't always the right thing, but it groomed me to want to do whatever I was going to do it at my best level.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
I wasn't going to half-step anything because I came up in an era where we all were 20-year-old kids with multi-million-dollar dreams
For sure.
and the ambition to get it.
Yeah. And was really working towards it and
Yeah.
building it. And now we at this point. You know what I mean?
And we're actually feeling the fruits of the labor then. It may, I'm sure we all thought by now we'd be all the moguls that we
For
would
sure.
be,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
We thought we'd have all the money, we'd do all the things, but if we actually look back on our lives, we lucked up and we got really blessed and we have
Absolutely.
really dope lives.
And we built that experience in between.
Yeah.
Like if I had the success I'm having now, then I would have walled out.
Yep. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
Yeah.
Word. So all right, now past the poetry, I don't know if you put the pen down. You put the pen down?
No, I mean I still write poetry.
Okay, I
Yeah.
won't say put the pen down.
Yeah.
But healing.
Yeah.
That's what you do right now. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I I've been doing this secretly though for people for a long time. Like,
Okay.
I've been the go-to for the go-to for the go-to. I laugh all the time about the amount of people who have slept on my couch, right?
Right, right.
Where my house has always been safe haven. But I'm somewhere in the middle of black girl, right? I'm too bougie for my hood homegirls. They like, but I'm also way too hood for my bougie homegirls,
I understand.
right?
Trust. I relate.
Yeah, so I'm in this middle, and I would have these circles at my house where I would have like my friends from two separate groups, and we'd be like having Friday nights, and I would really watch like my group of friends like know what could help that particular girl, but kind of be like,
Nah.
well, she ain't the one we helping.
Yeah.
And I wanted to help her. That's why she was my friend, right?
Right.
Because I still wanted to be of assistance. I still wanted to show up. And I decided to move that into real life. Like, I'm always preaching the argument because people always want to be, you know, you get spiritual or you get healed, and they always want to be like, I want Erykah Badu and not Cardi B.
Right.
And I'm always
right.
preaching duality. Some
Right.
days I'm Erykah. Some days I'm Cardi.
Some days it's Uchiwali. Some days it's one mic.
Both days I deserve to be protected and healed, right? Both days I deserve to be in my best state. Nothing about this being deserves less. And I think that black people have perfected classism
Right.
in a manner that kind of harms us, because some of the most brilliant minds are those that we ignore. Again, had we never had the chance, just you and I,
Right.
if nobody would have ever just decided to be like, okay, let them try it, we could have also been two kids who fell through the crack, no matter how talented we are.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I try to heal. I focus on the healing of everything. I'm big on journal prompts. So my 6 weeks healing course is actually a series of journal prompts. But I like to unpack what made you think that this was the right direction, or what made you think that we had to do this. And I've been doing that in my living room for so long that I was like, we should probably do it to the masses. So I started taking for referrals only like 5 years ago. Like, the only
Word.
way you could come through me is if you knew somebody who knew somebody.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And so I started doing that like 5 years ago, and it was cool. It was small, but it was always good. It was always helpful. And then in January of this year, I was like, you know, I'll help whoever want to help.
For sure.
And it's been interesting, but also navigating that black people have a harder time even believing they can be healed. And
So-
that's a really, really difficult struggle from a person
Right.
who feels like, get up.
Let's talk about that for a second. So it's a twofold question. So the first part is the actual process when we say healing, because I know right now like healing and growth and all that are like buzzwords. You know what I mean? The actual process, even like when I was joking earlier, like, do I need to be naked in a monk robe with incense and all that?
Yeah.
Like, what is healing? You
I
know?
think self-care is that. So yeah, do that at home for
Right,
sure.
right.
But I think it's years ago, Isis said to me, forgiveness is when you can remember what happened and it doesn't hurt anymore. Right? I think healing is the same way. I think it's knowing what the trauma was, but it no longer is the reason you're not performing at your best.
I love that.
Right?
Okay.
And we all have trauma. We are raising black kids who will have trauma, right? Just because we are being raised in a third world country with a first world military. Okay? So we will have children who we will also have to navigate trauma with. But black people treat trauma like bad words.
Yeah.
We treat healing like bad words, because to be healed, we'd have to say we broke it, and we actually don't ever want to admit.
We don't want nothing to do with nothing broke.
Yeah, there's
It's
no
culture,
brokenness
yeah.
that's happening.
Yeah.
So we can't ever get to the point of healing because we don't ever admit that we're hurting,
Right.
which is a trauma response. But when I started recognizing the things about me I didn't actually like, right? I went from being extremely defensive. Well, I mean, you know better than anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't like to be talked to crazy.
Right.
Okay. And I'm going to defend myself, but I found myself always defending myself. And then I was like, then I'm the problem. If I'm always in defense of something, if something has always triggered me, why is it triggering me?
Right.
Why do I feel like I need to defend it? And when I started healing those little basic chapters, everything in my life looked different.
That's real. I mean, it starts with, like, I'm cliche, but it starts with you, for real.
Facts.
So, and I think, I mean, we could do a whole season on trauma, but I think we're now at a point, we always talk about woke and all that, but we're really waking up to the fact, like, damn, we're not okay.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember sitting with my guys, shouts to the Wash podcast. We were just talking, and it's like, man, like, the stories we were sharing, I'm like, y'all realize this ain't okay, right? You know, like, we talking about being teenagers, seeing people get killed and, like, going to jail and family on drugs, and it's like, it's become so normal, especially through hip-hop and just the way culture is pushed. It's like, damn, but nah. So, like, now we fathers and we in our 30s and stuff, and I'm like, damn, I'm kind of not all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I really had to just be like, I think I'm going to go get some therapy because I don't know what's wrong, but I know that I'm not okay. And it's not, we look at that like, oh, this nigga's crazy, or you sad, you in your feelings. It's like, nah, bro, like, something triggered something in me, and I don't know how to get to that. So, healing, that's important.
It is. And also, my husband's group of friends were all over one day, and they said, as black men, we have nowhere for safety.
Fact.
And so here I go arguing, okay? Here me and my best friend, now we want to argue with our spouses about what you mean. Like, and my husband goes, no. He goes, you guys are women. He's like, it's different because I'm arguing the black woman and the black men experience is the same. And he's telling me like, no, he's like, you're women. He's like, I could go to my homeboy's house and the wrong homeboy of his be tripping.
Yeah.
I'm not even safe there. Like, there's not a place where I get to drop my shoulders. And I was like, oh. And I told him today on my way over here, I was telling my homegirl's spouse, I said, that changed the way I parent.
Yeah.
That conversation in my living room changed the way I parent. I immediately wanted to parent different because I have been raising these black boys who I'm like, what do you mean? My oldest son is a 4.2 GPA and he's brilliant and he does everything he wants. And
Right.
but I don't know if I've ever provided him safety. I don't know that. I know that he knows what he should do. I know that he knows that I'm rooting for him. I know he knows I'm a cheerleader. He knows all of those things. But safety is an entirely different conversation.
It is.
Does he feel like he can relax his shoulders with me?
Right.
And I had to parent different from that because I felt like maybe not. Maybe not.
That's real because I've said it multiple times, like, I never put in the words of safety, but that's exactly what it is. So, like, as a black man, you know, our head is on a swivel no matter what. But when you're at home, you got to be the guardian, you got to be the protector. As an adult, as a child, I'm going to take care of my mama. I'm going to do this, that. So, of course, you might, depending on people's situations, you might get that emotional support and things like that. But I still got to protect. I got to protect, and I got to protect myself. Then you walk out into the world. It's like, damn, am I going to get caught by the cops today? Is it going to be one of these, you know, domestic terrorists, quote unquote, out here? And then, like you said, I might just go kick it with the homies. And today was just homeboys' angry day. You know what I mean? And it's going down. Or we're out and we got to confront some other black men because they feel like they got to be on protective mode. So safety, that's crazy.
It changed how I parented. It changed how I relationship to black men.
Right.
It immediately became fine. I recognize that my reputation in my city is that you're going to respect me. People don't actually disrespect me. I won't actually say I'm a girl who people disrespect. Other girls can have different stories, but me personally, I don't actually have a lot of people who try me. You know what I mean? Like, disrespectfully. But also, I want to be like safe spaces for my male friends that feel like, okay, like, whoa, I'm breaking. Can I break? I think that we don't give black men any room to actually break without the like, okay, but are you done yet? It's kind of quick. And with black women, we superhero all the time, so we never put our cape down. We're always on like, so there's not rest. You know, they say there's no rest for the weary. I believe that because as Black women, we're always thinking like, how can I save, help, manage this situation? So this 2022, I've been preaching safety for Black men and putting capes down for Black women.
Yeah.
Like, both things for your mental health, both things for the things that are going to better you. But if we provide Black men safe spaces, the things that we see people complain about Black men would be less than if they just had some safe spaces to like unpack some of the trauma that we're not acknowledging they get.
True story. And I think once you put all that together, so you got, you know, safety with Black men and then the superhero Black women, and then where it gets messy in our culture is we be like, well, all right, well, we do this, and y'all like, nah, but Black women always got to do this for the Black man, and it's like, well, all together we just sound like a broken people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're not. We are broken people for facts.
Yeah.
But
not and I don't mean that like, oh
no,
my God,
no,
you know,
we are. We're just we. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, they pay Holocaust survivors. They pay them for the Holocaust. There are remnants that they actually acknowledge that are in the biological DNA of children of survivors of the Holocaust, right? So, of course, there's some brokenness with us. Of course there is. I mean, our introduction to this place wasn't one of like, let's build family,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
But I don't actually think it's as much division as people think it is. I think that that's something that I also had to learn. You know what came up in my memories on Facebook?
What was that?
A couple years ago, you and I were having one of our back channel conversations, and you had said something to me like, you think these companies leak racist things for publicity. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
you remember
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that? Okay, so I had tweeted that. I mean, I had put that on Facebook a couple of years ago, and when it came back into my memories, I thought about it the same way I think about Black brokenness. I think they tell us that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of talking about Black brokenness, so Black people still feel broken.
That's real.
Right? But the reality is, you're a married man. You and your wife have children. I'm a married woman. Me and my husband have children. All of my friends are married wives. They all have spouses.
Literally just had this conversation with my wife yesterday. It's like, because I was just talking about, you know, breaking generational curses and all that. And you're absolutely right, because you can't tell me that there aren't any Black fathers when all of my friends are active Black fathers. You know what I mean? Overly active, if anything.
And some of them annoyingly active.
Yeah, and again, that's not everybody. Everybody has their certain situations.
I'm not saying that your situation can't be different, but I'm saying that we get on these rants about what Black men aren't or what Black women aren't, and those things are hot button issues, and they take off. Those things go viral. You know, get on here today,
and then we start arguing about it,
and we're arguing about it,
that.
but we're not actually recognizing what our life looks like.
Right.
My daughter wakes up to her father every day. I went to therapy after I had my daughter, which is what led me to be like, oh God, yeah. So I had boys. I had two boys, 7 and 11, when I get pregnant with my daughter. Okay. I thought she was a boy. She was supposed to be twin boys, actually. So thought she was a boy. So cool, like, great. We deliver her, and she is a girl, and she has a real vagina, and I have a panic attack. Now, everybody's gonna say, what did you think she was gonna have? I understand that question.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what I was prepared for, but when I'm telling you that, it immediately sent me into therapy. Immediately, because now everybody around me is a predator. Now I am like, I don't want no one looking, touching, feeling. I don't want you to do anything with her. I'll change all her diapers.
Yeah.
I don't want anything. And my husband, who, by the way, does have the patience of a saint, because
he has to, dealing with you.
He's so patient, yo. Like, you people have no idea how patient he is. He's like, you should probably go get that checked out, because he doesn't come with any of this trauma. He has none of the trauma that I have. So he's like, when you talk to him, my husband says he knew he was going to be a husband and a father when he was young. Like, I had no idea I was ever going to be a wife again, ever. Right? But he knew. His trauma is not set up like mine. So I immediately go to therapy, and in my therapy, the therapist goes, you keep seeing predators. You keep thinking people are predators, you're going to make people predators. She's like, you keep attracting what you see. And I'm like, you know what? Okay. let me back up. That's the thing I think with Black division. I think they keep showing us it it's presenting like it's the only thing that's happening.
Right.
Meanwhile, in our real homes, in our real lives, in our real friend circles,
Complete opposite.
it's completely opposite. We're having couples dates all the time, and they're bringing their children over, and they are 2.5 kids, and everything is the same.
Right.
But we're not talking about that enough.
We aren't,
Because
man.
division sells.
I'm gonna have to have you come back a few times because again, we could carry this conversation. But let's do this. Fast forward to right now in this moment.
Yeah.
We went over how you are, but
Yeah.
what's next for you? What's the future looking like for you?
I'm gonna do a podcast.
Speak that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a podcast. We gonna get some healing circles together. I really want to do a Listen, I have this idea.
Okay.
Okay. I want to do like a black healing camp, but I want us all to do it on shrooms.
Wait. Hold up. I didn't think it was gonna do that. You said a black healing camp on shrooms.
Yeah. I want us all to listen. Let me tell you what I want. Let me tell you what my dream is. Okay, my big dream. No, I do. I think all black people should try shrooms. Starting with that, I think that everybody should try them. But I do want to do like a circle of black folks where we're like at a camp, and that's the objective for the evening. Is just that. Mainly because I think that, first of all, there's like all this scientific studies of what shrooms does for depression. It's freaking amazing. Just look it up, Google it. It'll show you.
For sure. Microdosing some tea, guys.
Yeah. Microdosing some tea all the time. Right. Every day. Every day if you can, no. But I also think that when we talk about black people getting free, I want to see us do that. You know what I dig about you the most? I can say that when we're on this podcast.
I can tell you this before you start and we talk about healing. I don't know how to accept compliments. I'm learning that about myself.
Okay, I'm about to tell you that.
But continue.
Yeah, let me tell you what I dig. I dig the events that you create are black freedom. Oh, God. It's literally happy black people.
Literally.
Yeah. And we went to that R&B bingo once. My cousin was in town. We drove down, and they were like singing the R&B songs and vibing, and it's black liberation. I want to do a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, moving forward, like in my healing realm. I don't want to do no more club stuff because
Same.
but I do want to do like black liberation. I want us to be able to have good times and feel free and remind ourselves all the time that it's okay if we not okay, but we gonna get okay.
Exactly. In this moment, we gonna be all right.
Yeah, we gonna be all right. We gonna get okay. We always gonna get okay, because nothing that you thought beat you, right? Because you wouldn't be able to talk about it if it beat you, right? So you haven't ever been beaten. So the evidence is that it's always okay.
Right. I like that. That's a good note to leave it on. It's always okay.
Yeah.
Final question.
Okay.
In this moment, if you could go back and talk to young Mirage, young Ashley, in the beginning, what would you say to her?
You don't got to be a bulldog.
I like it. Ease up.
Yeah, you don't have to be a bulldog. It's okay. You gonna be all right.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Ashley, Mirage, thank you. This was dope.
Thank you, Graffiti.
Anything you want to plug? You want to tell people how to follow you, all that?
rosegoldlsc.org is the website. You can book me through everything I do there. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook. It's Mirage, Mirahzh. It's the phonetic spelling, y'all. Just look it up in the dictionary.
Go with it.
Yeah.
Well,
I really enjoyed myself. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
We out.
Bye.